Hey there, everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show that is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we got a little bit of progression going here today, and a little bit of metal, and a little bit of hard rock, and a little bit of a lot of stuff here. So, anyways, we're on the series that we're doing for the month of July, which is my 31 favorite rock albums that introduced me to these bands. And I'm going to go on a little bit more of an explanation than I've given in the last couple of days. So these are just basically albums that I got that launched these bands with me. Now, some of these bands, bands such as Day One's Queen, that album launched me into the band, and I followed that band for a while. In this case, this album launched me into this band, but for some reason that I'm not really sure why, I didn't pursue it beyond the first album for many decades, like 3, 4 decades later. And then I got into this band in a heavy way, which I really like this band a lot. And we're talking about Blue Oyster Cult. The album today we're featuring, Fire of Unknown Origin. Now, I believe this was an '82 release. So they weren't one of the initial bands that I got into right away. No, it's an '81 release, so they still weren't one of the initial 20 or 30 bands that I listened to in the first couple of years after I got out of my Kiss phase. But my friend John, as you've heard me say before, he pushed this band on me and said, yeah, they're really good. He says, I know that they're classified as heavy metal, but they're really not heavy metal. They have a lot of stuff going on here. There's a little bit of progginess in their music. There's a little bit of psychedelic sounds to their music. There's a little bit of metal in here, of course. There's some hard rock. There's some real, actually kind of boogie type rock in here as well. Yeah, they just do it all. The album cover, I think, is absolutely killer. It's still my favorite. Well, yeah, it's pretty much my favorite album cover, not my favorite Blue Oyster Cult. And you're going to find that with these 31 albums. They're not necessarily my favorite albums. They're just the albums that really launched the band for me. So this album launched the band, and then it stalled for 30 years. But as soon as I started doing this channel, I knew I had to get into more of their other stuff because I knew how good this was. So this has a lot of really good tracks on it. I've listened to this album hundreds of times over the years that I've owned it. Originally had it in vinyl and now have it in CD. Fire of Unknown Origin, the opening track, the title track, killer. Burning for You was the kind of big radio hit for them. One of 2 hits that they kind of had. They were never a tier 1 band, but they had a couple of big hits. Everybody knows Don't Fear the Reaper, and then there's this song, Burning for You. Veteran of 1,000 Psychic Wars, absolutely killer. Or Veteran of the Psychic Wars, sorry, not 1,000. Veteran of the Psychic Wars, really, really great tune. Got a little bit of that kind of proggy element to it. Soul Survivor, which may be one of my favorite tunes on this album now. You got Heavy Metal, The Black and Silver. This was the actual song that made me go out and get this album. My friend had been telling me about them, and I kept putting it off. And then we went to see the movie Heavy Metal, and this song was in it. And then I went on the way back from the movie. We stopped at the record store, and I said, hey, you know what? I already have that Black Sabbath album, The Mob Rules, so let's go and get this Blue Oyster Cult album. And I did, and it launched this band for me. Vengeance of the Pack, not a bad song. After Dark, another good one. Joan Crawford, one of my favorites. Don't Turn Your Back, yeah, could live without that one. It's the only track on the album I'm not really that fond of, but this is an absolute killer album. Once I started listening to it, at first I really wasn't sure I liked it. For a couple months I just kind of hemmed and hawed about it. I did like Heavy Metal, The Black and Silver, then became a Veteran of the Psychic Wars. I really got into that. Then just slowly it just kind of became an album that I liked a lot. And I just, even though I a couple times pursued looking at some of the other Blue Oyster Cult stuff, even went as far as to listen to some of my friends' stuff and just, I wasn't sure that I really liked it as much. This album to me might have, at that time, I think it was kind of an outlier for me. But it did bring Blue Oyster Cult into my life. And then later, now I really like them quite a bit. There's a lot of their stuff I love. So there you have it. Blue Oyster Cult here, day number 29, or day number 3. My 29th favorite album for 31 favorite albums that introduced me to the bands for the month of July. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Any comments about the album, you can put that down below. And we will see you tomorrow with day number 28, or day number 4, album number 28. So take care and have yourself a good one. Goodbye.